In a world that moves too fast, this is your invitation to pause, to explore the space between thought and wonder, where science meets story and emotion meets insight. Here, curiosity is more than a question. It's a way of being. You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy.
Have you ever felt guilty for taking time off? Like the world might collapse without you? Here's the truth. Skipping vacation doesn't make you more dedicated. It makes you more depleted. Today, we're diving into the psychology of vacation, how time away rewires your brain, heals your body, and strengthens your relationships, and why it's not indulgence, it's maintenance. Okay, let me paint you a picture. You wake up, check your phone, and before your feet hit the floor, you have already scrolled through 27 notifications. You rush through your morning, chug cold coffee, answer emails between bites of breakfast, and by 10 a.m., you're already exhausted. Now, picture this instead. You wake up to sunlight streaming through your curtain, ocean waves in the distance, no alarms, no inbox. Your only to-do list says, wander, breathe, maybe take a nap. Your brain feels different. Just imagining that, doesn't it? That's because vacation, whether it's a 2-week cruise or a 1-day digital detox, literally changes your brain chemistry. It's not an escape from life. It's how we refuel it. Reducing stress and restoring focus. Chronic stress is like keeping your car engine revving in park. Eventually, it's just going to overheat. The American Psychological Association reports that 76% of adults experience chronic stress symptoms, including irritability, fatigue, and poor sleep. Vacations? They interrupt the stress loop. A 2021 study in the Journal of Happiness found that even 3 days away reduces cortisol levels. It lowers blood pressure and it increases sleep quality, effects that last up to a month after returning. Neuroscientists from the University of Vienna explain that when we disconnect from work stimulus, our prefrontal cortex, our brain's, executive center of our brain finally gets a break. Think of it like you're closing all the browsers that have been open for months in your brain. I once had a client who prided herself on never missing a workday for 5 years. She got the perfect attendance award. Then she finally took a week off. She spent the first 2 days pacing. She couldn't relax. She kept checking her phone, looking at notifications, trying to look at emails. But by day 3, she noticed colors looked a little brighter and food tasted a little better, and her thoughts started slowing down. That is not magic. That is her nervous system coming back online. Downtime isn't wasted time. I'm going to say that again. Downtime is not wasted time. It's integration time. It's when your brain processes, repairs, and reorganizes. And without that, you're literally running on a cluttered mental desktop that just keeps freezing up. Humans are wired for connection, but modern life, well, it keeps us so distracted, not connected. Vacations give us what psychologists call unstructured bonding time. Hours where connection happens organically, not between errands. The Journal of Travel Research found couples who travel together report higher relationship satisfaction, intimacy, and communication. The Family and Relationships Journal discovered families who vacation together at least twice a year have stronger emotional closeness and more positive memories shared over time. It also builds relationship and family resiliency to be able to handle obstacles that may come your way. Friendships also benefit from shared travel experiences. It increases trust and empathy, and because they require cooperation and vulnerability. So why do vacations work? Why do we get these benefits from vacations? One of the things is vacations create novelty. It releases dopamine, the neurotransmitter tied to pleasure and bonding. Shared novelty literally rewires how we see each other and ourselves. A road trip with friends, a beach weekend with your partner, or even a staycation brunch marathon with your bestie, these moments remind us that relationships thrive on presence, not productivity. I'm going to say that again. Our relationships thrive on presence, not productivity. Think about the last time you and someone you love laughed so hard that you couldn't even breathe. You know, that deep down belly laugh? Odds are you weren't at a desk. Odds are you weren't overworking with chores when that moment happened. You were somewhere free of deadlines and you were full of life. Vacations don't fix relationships, but they reset them. They give space to remember why connection matters, or to even help us connect. So often in our relationships, especially our family and our partnership relationships, we are so busy living life and doing the things that we stop connecting. Okay, so we couldn't talk about the mental health benefits without talking about the physical health benefits. Your body also gets a memo when you go on vacation. There is a landmark heart study that found that men who skipped vacations for several years were 30% more likely to suffer heart attacks, while women who took vacations twice a year were 8 times less likely to develop coronary disease. That's huge. University of Pittsburgh study showed vacations improve sleep quality and metabolic regulation. When you're not running on adrenaline, your body can repair tissue and balance your hormones and regulate your appetite and help improve your immune function. And here's something fascinating. Exposure to new environments stimulates your hippocampus, improving memory and creativity. And that's why so many people have big ideas while sitting on a beach or hiking a trail. Okay, I'm going to tell on myself for a minute. So I was on a cruise and I was sitting, my favorite thing to do while I'm sitting on a cruise is kind of sit where I can see over the ocean as the boat's cutting through the water. And I was just sitting on my balcony and my little feet were up on the rail and I'm just watching the cruise boat cutting through the water. And it was such a beautiful and relaxing moment. And it was like right there, right then, I had this whole epiphany. Like this whole book came to my brain. And I had, all of a sudden I could see every chapter, every outline, all these connections. It just like came. So I got up out of my seat and I'm going through the boat and I'm trying to find, well, do they have any journals? Is there any paper? I need to write this down. This is an amazing stuff that just came to me. And I never was able to find a journal or paper that was meaningful enough to sketch out some of this book. And you know what? I lost it. But I wouldn't have even found that book had I not taken time to stop and let things slow on. So what I have learned from that experience is I never travel without my digital notebook, at least in case one of those great, wonderful, creative ideas comes to me. I can capture that moment because that is when I get some of my best, most creative ideas. I can remember one of my clients who worked 70-hour weeks. His blood pressure was through the roof. Sleep, not existent. I convinced him to take a 4-day fishing trip with his brother. He came back saying, my shoulders dropped 2 inches. That trip lowered his stress readings so much. His doctor said it was the best prescription he ever filled. Rest, relaxation, recuperation. Vacation isn't just mental hygiene. It's physical medicine. Your nervous system, immune system, cardiovascular system depend on recovery cycles. So, what are some of those common barriers to taking vacations? Because if vacations are so beneficial, then why do people not take them? I think there's three big barriers. I think we have a big one, especially in the United States, but in the Western culture, that there's this guilt and work culture in the US. Over 50% of United States workers leave vacation days unused. Like, we glorify busyness as it's like this badge of honor or this trophy. Financial pressures, I think, is another barrier. Many people equate vacation with expensive travel. But rest doesn't have to involve plane tickets. And having wonderful, restful, meaningful experiences can happen on any budget. And then I think we have the other obstacle is time scarcity and caregiving. Parents, entrepreneurs, caregivers often feel there's just no time. But lack of boundaries, not lack of hours, is often the true culprit. Many times, if we can just be more intentional with where we put our energy, with where we make our commitments, what we do with our time, we will find we actually have way more time than we realized. And it's really a great thing to kind of sit back and take a time inventory. Where's your time going? And is it going to the things and places you want it to go to? The psychological factor is this ties into our self-worth bias, believing we must earn rest through, being exhausted. But rest is not the reward. It's not a prize. It is fuel for your persistence. Okay, so let's bring it down to earth. How can you begin reclaiming rest even if you can't take a week off? 1, schedule micro vacations. Take one day every month or two for just a disconnect. Like, we're not running errands, we're not doing chores, we're just taking time. If it's a drive through the country or having a picnic at the park or reading at the beach, finding a space one time, one day, every month, every other month will give you some of that restoration time. Plan sensory shifts. The brain relaxes through novelty, not just inactivity. Try something new, like a new trail or an art museum or unplugged afternoon at the beach, or explore a new place in your community, a downtown area, an antique shop, a new craft store. Like, those things are also restorative to our brain. And creating no tech hours. We can do this every day and it doesn't cost us anything, but we do have to be intentional. We need to silence the noise. A digital detox day or hour or period can mimic the calm of a vacation for your nervous system. It deactivates some of that overactive sympathetic nervous system. It reactivates some of that parasympathetic nervous system so your body can reset. When we constantly have commands and demands and things pulling on us, coming in on our phone devices 24 hours a day, it feels like our body is on the clock constantly. Put your phone on airplane mode. Functions in your phone that allow your phone to not ding for notifications. Like, these are important things we can do to give ourselves some of that reset. We also need a big one. We need to reframe how we look at rest. Many people look at rest as lazy and not productive, and I could be doing something better with my time. But rest is productivity. Rest is doing something for yourself that increases your focus, your empathy, your creativity. It all rebounds when you've had some rest and downtime. You're really not falling behind. You're recharging your operating system. And this can be a big one because it sounds counterintuitive. But the truth is, when we keep pushing through, we lose productivity. Our bodies and our brains start getting exhausted. And if we can just stop, give ourselves those places of rest, when we come back to that activity, we have fresh eyes, fresh energy, fresh focus, fresh concentration, and we get that completed better quality usually and quicker. We need to make sure we're using the productivity of rest in our bodies and our brains. Using rituals can be really helpful. So things like lighting a candle or playing your favorite playlist or your change of scenery, those all signal to your brain, we're on break now. Some of my favorite evening rituals, in fact, when I was trying to re-navigate how to just have daily cycles in my life of rest, because it's not easy. You can work 24 hours a day and you'll still not be caught up. And you'll never get it all done. It's not meant to be done. And so what's meant to is know when we need to push pause. And for me, the best time to start working then in my day was the night, because then I could get better quality sleep. So I would come home. I took my first 30 minutes when I walked in the door to kind of reset my brain, got a cold drink, changed my clothes, put my night clothes on. And then I would engage with what happened at home. And then right before bed, I started 10 minutes of reading or meditation or listening to calming music or sounds. And now I have this whole space. And as soon as my brain starts doing these things, it knows it's time to start unwinding and unplugging. And I get really good quality rest every day. And I run pretty hard, but also I rest really hard, because rest is what gives me the strength and energy to do the things I do. I often get people who ask me, Dr. Angel, how do you get all this thing? How do you get everything done that you get done? Well, I have lots of secrets, but a big one of those secrets is knowing that I have to refuel and replug my brain. Vacations remind us that we're human beings. We're not human doings. I'm going to say that again. We're human beings, not human doings. They help us to remember what joy feels like when it's not scheduled between appointments or sporting events, or even work deadlines. Even the smallest pause, a sunrise walk, a weekend nap, a quiet cup of coffee by the window, can reconnect us to ourselves. You don't have to earn rest. You just have to make space for it. You just have to allow it. Take a breath, imagine your version of away, and start planning it, even if it's just one mindful day off. If this episode inspired you to rethink rest, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe for more episodes that blend psychology, neuroscience, and real-life strategies to strengthen your mind and your joy. Also, do not forget to check out our new series on Fridays, our Food for Thought Fridays. This month we are doing a book study on The Body Keeps the Score. Drop a comment below sharing your next vacation dream. Big or small, doesn't matter. Until next time, stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy. That's a wrap. See you next week.
You found your corner of calm and contemplation. This is nerdy psychology. Stay curious, be kind, and keep your mind nerdy. Nerdy.